Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're consuming this podcast from. My name is Jesse, and welcome to another episode of Startup Confessions with Jesse. And today I have Melissa June. And to be honest, I am so excited that I can't even express how excited I am to have her on the show because she's someone I've actually looked up to at the mastermind. We met at the mastermind actually. And I've always looked up to her because she has so much ideas that I don't know how she's able to carry out all these ideas. But I'm going to be leaving her and giving her enough time to express herself today. And I'm sure we're going to be learning a thing or two, from all her experiences and everything she has to offer to us today. But before I give Melissa a chance, to get on the stage because I know she has a lot to tell us, I want to give you a brief breakdown of who Melissa is and what she stands for. Now, Melissa is a fractional chief alignment and performance officer, strategist, and founder of the nonprofit Live Anyway. Sorry, I almost made a mistake with that. Live Anyways. After a life altering cancer diagnosis, she rebuilt her work around one core question, which is what happens when people and organizations operate in true alignment. So it's all about alignment for Melissa. So she now partners with executives and founders to align missions, people, energy, and execution, helping teams scale without burning out their values or their humanity. Known for her clarity and grounded leadership, Melissa turns self awareness into measurable performance and guides organizations from fragmented effort to sustainable, purpose driven impact. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I have Melissa in the house. Melissa, you have the stage. At least just say hi.
Hello, hello, hello. It is such a pleasure to be here. You just radiate through the screen, and honestly, I miss our weekly sessions where we got to just bounce ideas off of each other and just share smiles and energy. And I have to also tell
Yeah.
you, you don't know this, but I love that your podcast is called Startup Confessions because I
Really?
have been I've been writing this talk. I've been sitting on it for like 3 years, and it's called Confessions of an Unfulfilled Woman.
Wow. Wow.
So
I don't know
here
how
we
I
are at
got
the
that whole
confessional.
stuff. I don't know how I got that startup confessions, but I think it just came. So here we are. It's a chance for everybody to confess. Tell us
Yes.
your own startup confessions. Let's start from the background. Give us a brief background of who you are and how you started off.
Well, I actually love that segue as confessions because it's the time that we can really confess that none of us really know what we're doing.
Yeah,
And we're all just trying to figure it out. And, we
that's right.
start out with this crazy idea. And, I have a lot of ideas, kind of to you, what you said earlier. I have a lot of ideas. And for the longest time, I tried to meticulously strategize each and every one, execute, impeccably, pick the right partnerships, and I thought that every idea that went unfulfilled meant I failed, and really that's not at all the case. And what I'm learning now in this stage of my career and in my business, it's that all those little tasks, those little jobs, those lost ideas, those imperfect, paths that I took, all of them have sort of guided me super uniquely to where I am now. I worked in marketing. I loved working in branding. Really, what I learned is that I love communications because I like working with passionate people that have really big purpose or missions attached to them. And I want to figure out how to blast their mission from the rooftops so that whoever they're trying to help can learn who they are, and what I learned through that process is that not everybody is who they say they are. I've done and I've worked with people on projects that where they've meticulously crafted their brand in a way that's not real. And my job
Yeah,
is to shine the brightest light on who they are. And if it's not real, it will also expose them. So in businesses or in partnerships that weren't really aligned. This is why I go back to alignment on everything now, because if it isn't aligned truly, if it isn't aligned with who I am and what I want and the message I want to put out in the world, I'm not doing it. And it doesn't matter if it means that I'm not eating dinner. And frankly, that's happened, right? Like if it means that I have to sacrifice it all in order to stay true to my own mission and integrity and purpose, then I must, because otherwise I start compromising, I start making micro adjustments, I start self-sacrificing, and before you know it, I'm in a cave, like an actual hole, burying myself by my own achievements, my own like grit, my own, you know, like tenacity to just finish what I started. And it's really not purposeful at all. So why I talk about confessions of an unfulfilled woman, it's what happens when you get everything you ever wanted. What happens when you realize that everything you ever wanted was only a result of what you didn't have? So once you get it, and once you have it, you have to face with, does this actually make me happy? Does this actually bring me joy? Is this actually aligned with what it is that I want to do or accomplish before I die? And that's where it's this like reckoning with yourself constantly. Do I really want that car? Why do I want it? Do I really want that house? Why do I want it? Do I really want that noun? Everybody wants this fancy position. They want to be an entrepreneur, they want to be
Yeah.
CEO, or they want to, whatever the title is that they can give on their business card. Like, none of it matters. How do you want to spend your day? How do you want to feel when you wake up? How do you want to feel when you go to bed? That's alignment.
Wow. I haven't thought of it this way, to be honest. I
Oh,
haven't thought
good.
of it this way before.
I love
And
it.
honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing that. This is the first time I'm hearing alignment from this kind of perspective. I haven't looked at it that way before. But then, who are your ideal clients like? Who are the people you really, really work with, on a day-to-day, basis?
People, I know it sounds so cliche, but my clients are people who legitimately want to change the world. They want to impact the world in a way that is impactful. They are progressive and innovative thinkers, and they are market disruptors. They care about their
Okay.
community, and they want to take an active participating role in making their community a better place. Everything that I do from a marketing perspective is centered around community outreach. And that's not some sort of ploy. Yes, it
Okay.
works when it comes to branding. Yes, it works when it comes to marketing. Yes, it's fun, right? But it's actually the way that we collectively rise together is when, if you're in a business, a for profit business, and you're
Mm.
serving the same members in the community as some impact driven businesses or nonprofits, how can you collaborate with those businesses and partner with them in a really meaningful way to not only hone in on what it is that you're doing, like collaborate, get, build the top of the funnel, right? Share newsletters, share resources, share, community communications, and also be a sustainable partner to a nonprofit who needs your funding, right? That has the impact, that has the influence, and also needs your funding to do the things that they're trying to do to better the community. When you can create that kind of partnership, that is, it's a game changer. And those are the people that I want to work with. I want to work with people that want to make a difference and want to make the world a better place and want to be part of a solution, not part of, this bigger problem, which is so egocentric and ethnocentric and,
Yeah.
egotistically motivated.
Yeah. I love the way everything still comes together because I was reading through your bio shortly before you came online, and I was like, you know, I saw this part of your bio that talked about surviving cancer. I could just imagine what you went through. How does it tie up again into this new motivation you have currently? How does it tie in again?
Yeah, I mean, it's unapologetically aligned. It's unapologetically authentic because what I learned going through treatment was A, how much energy I was absolutely wasting by just sacrificing
Wow.
myself in order to help other people. Right. I have so much energy and I've always had so much energy that when I didn't, when I was sick, when I wasn't functional, when I wasn't productive, when I wasn't doing the things that people knew me to do, I learned really
Yeah.
quickly how drained I was. And it also became abundantly clear what was continuously draining me and also what was filling me up. I mean, when I first got diagnosed with cancer, I went to two conferences with my drain still attached. I was traveling from leadership meeting to a conference to this and that. And I was just hell bent and determined to not let the cancer slow me down. And in turn, what I
Yeah.
learned was that I was actually killing myself. And I wasn't stopping. I literally, it was after my third round of chemo, like three different surgeries. I had a blood clot that put me in the hospital for over a week because I tested positive for COVID going into the OR. And
Wow.
I was forced, like forced to sit, to pause. And honestly, that time in the hospital was the biggest game changer. And I was never the same after that. I learned how to meditate in the hospital. I learned how to do breath work in the hospital because I was literally in isolation. Doctors couldn't come in and hardly
Yeah.
see me, nurses couldn't. I mean, it was COVID. So and I've never watched TV. I don't even have a TV. So I didn't have anything to like fill my brain and I just had to
Mind. Yeah.
confront myself. And that confrontation with myself really forced me to pause long enough to hear myself think. And I was surprised that I didn't like it. I was surprised that I was actually really unhappy. I was really unfulfilled. I was really insecure. I was really scared. And it was that time that I learned I had to cancel all my flights for all future trips. I had to change the way that I worked. I couldn't go back to my office, on a consistent basis to stay, checked in. I, couldn't depend on my friends in the same way and distracting me from whatever it I didn't want to see. And in doing all of this, it really gave me the opportunity to reflect on again what it is that I wanted and what I was going to do from there. And it was scary and in so many ways I just spiraled out of control. I mean, my couple of months after chemo, I was like the Tasmanian devil. I just burned it all down. I mean, I finished chemo in June. I got a divorce in September. I quit my job in December. And by January, I couldn't decide if I was like on the highest of highs or on the lowest of lows because it was that extreme, day to day, hour to hour. And the one thing that stayed consistent from that moment, and it's now been 3 years since that moment, it's that it is both up and down. It never
Yeah.
feels totally okay. And that's how I know I'm doing it right because it's real. It's authentic. And this is what
Yeah.
real, authentic living looks like. It's uncomfortable, it's raw, it's imperfect, it's tragic, it's also euphoric, it's magical, it's beautiful, it's torturous, it's all of these things. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
So how cancer shifted everything for me is it's unapologetic. Nothing is going to force me to go back into that level of complacency that I used to be in, and including myself.
Would you actually say actually change the way you walk? The way you reason now? Do you actually say that?
Yeah. I mean, it changed the way I live. I've always been someone who lived a big life, like lived fully. It shifted it
Yeah.
not just from living fully. It wasn't about jam packing my schedule with so much stuff so that I did the thing. I checked the list. All of those achievement focused initiatives. It became so much more like this last weekend. I was in the woods with my kids. It took us 4 hours to build a fire. 3 years ago, I would have been like, we're not making a fire. That's part of the experience. It was so beautiful, and it's living in that moment. It's pulling off the side of the road and playing with a little splotch of snow that we found on the side of the road. It's just being
Yeah.
so present in the moment even if it's the moment that you didn't plan for, even if it's not ideal, like what you curated in your mind, your expectations. It's so beautiful when you can actually just see it for the mess and the
Yeah.
beauty and the goodness that it is, because that's, you can't, there's nothing better than it. It's like right now, right here in this moment. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter who and what it's going to be. What matters is right here, right now.
Yeah, living in the moment. Now, would you actually say, this whole experience makes people more, find more clarity? Because I have an auntie, my mom's younger sister who went through cancer. She went through breast cancer and she went through chemo just like
Mm.
you. It was a very horrifying experience, and when she came out of that experience, she had a new understanding about life. She began to live her life to make people happy. She began to live her life to make sure people are in good situations, look for ways to help people, invest in the lives of people. She had a new change of mentality, right?
Mhm.
So, would you actually say that sometimes when people go through these kind of situations, does it actually give them more clarity about life?
I think it does, and I also think it can make you more confused. I mean, the confusion the confusion is the disruption of the illusion that you manufactured and curated based on what you thought you
Yeah.
should want and need. The liberation is in realizing that none of it matters. You don't need
Yeah.
any of it, and that you get to be alive today, and that gratitude and that appreciation for the present moment and real authentic loving connections that just make you feel so warm inside. And even moments where you're scared or you are nervous, or you're sad, or you're, all of these things, these are sensations that remind you that you're alive. And that's
Yeah.
what's really, really beautiful. So that's where the clarity comes in, is actually in those dark moments. Once you go through it, it's like I heard once this analogy about buffalo, and that buffalo are the only herd of cattle that when the storm comes in, they bind together and they walk toward
Mm.
into the storm. And what a beautiful analogy for this life, because when you do that, you just hunker down, you bind together, you get really focused, you prepare yourself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You really, and you walk straight through it. What comes out the other side is just this appreciation for the peace. It is this like euphoric sense you know of love and compassion. And I don't know, I like to think that not everybody has to go through cancer or some sort of life altering scenario in order
Terrible.
to get there. But if more people could get there without getting sick, that would be awesome.
Wow. To be honest, I pray people don't have to get sick to get that level of clarity. I pray because
Exactly.
I can't imagine what you've been through, to be honest. I can't imagine. It must be really terrible. And I know it has made you a better person. And I would like you to tell us a bit about, the non-profit you talked about, Live Anyways. I know it has something to do with your experience, but give us a brief, you know, breakdown of what you meant.
Yeah, so live anyway was my mantra going through treatment. People were like,
Yeah.
how are you doing all this when you're sick? And, how are you doing that when you're sick? And you got cancer, go do this. And my mantra throughout was like, yes, I don't feel good, but I'm going to live anyway. Yes, this sucks. Plain simple. I'm going to live anyway. Going through the divorce. Yes, this is painful. I'm going to live anyway. All of these moments where, you have this choice point. You just really do. You have
Yeah.
this choice point. Are you going to live or die right now? People that have stage 4 cancer are living more fully than people that have perfect health bills, right? Why is
Yeah.
that? It's a choice. It's not to say that when we make all these conditional agreements with ourselves, when this happens, then I'll do this, right? We wait till we die to find peace, right? We fantasize about
You're right.
heaven when we literally live in the Garden of Eden. And yes, it can also be your personal hell, but it is the Garden of Eden. This world is miraculous. And so
Yeah.
it's the choice point to say, you know what? I'm just going to get up and do this. And so Live Anyway is all about creating the, events and the experiences and the connections and the resources to help people do just that. It's how do you journal? I wrote a book that helps women navigate life through treatment. How do they reflect on themselves? How do they connect with themselves? You're going through this sort of existential moment where you're forced to face your own mortality. How are you communicating with yourself? Journaling was a huge aspect of how I went through treatment and how I've really, healed since then. And it's a constant commitment for myself. I have a morning ritual that I journal every single morning. And it is empowering and it's clarifying and it really helps me kind of connect with my own thoughts. And so I show women how to do that, and
Yeah.
men. And I work with women on their shave days. So when they're going through treatment, one
Okay.
thing that I did is I curated the whole day because I wanted to focus on how did I want to feel when I lost my hair.
Okay.
I, you know, I talk a lot about serenity and how do you know what you can control and what you cannot control. And I couldn't control whether or
Yeah.
not I was going to lose my hair, but I could control how. So that morning I got up, I went for a walk, I went and did yoga, I went and got my makeup done, I got a new outfit, I invited some friends to join me at a salon, and I had made a playlist. I drank my favorite champagne, and we had a big party at a drag show after. And I just wanted to have fun. It was a moment of reckoning with myself. I mean, talk about there's so many, metaphors for shaving your head, and it feels
Yeah.
that intense. I mean, it is the moment you become an actual cancer patient. It's the moment where you become recognizable as a cancer patient. And I just wanted to own the day differently. So I help other women host their own shave days and help them curate it for them or with them. And then I talk in my book about I had like 40 wigs. So I named them all different characters and they all channeled
You
some
have a
other
book?
aspect of
Yeah.
my personality. And it was
You
fun.
have a
So
book?
yeah, it's called Live Anyway, A Survivor's Guide to Life After
Okay.
Diagnosis. It's on my website at meetmeljune.com and then also on Amazon, and anywhere books are sold. And it's really to help women navigating through diagnosis. How do you face yourself? How do you face your family? How do you navigate life through it and truly live anyway? Right? How do you
Yeah.
develop a system of support? I identified different caregivers. So I work with caregivers and with patients alike. I do a lot of speaking in these environments, either book clubs or at treatment centers or, with pharmaceutical companies, showing them like how do we really support our patients in a meaningful way, and then showing patients how do they communicate what it is that they need to the
Mm.
people that want to care for them, so that expectations are clear, experiences are great, and people know how to show up
Yeah.
and show out. So my nonprofit does all of that. It's connections, it's communication, it's empowerment, it's family, it's how do we connect with ourselves and each other in ways that help us heal.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Honestly, this is amazing. And how do you feel while making such kind of impact? I could imagine how you feel when people listen to you, but how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel glad I'm alive.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like everything I went through has a purpose. And even though I know I'm generating and curating that purpose, it makes me feel better about it. I feel like if I suffered just a little bit, how could others not suffer quite so much? Or if they are suffering, how can I help them navigate through it? I can't rescue anybody. I can't cure cancer single-handedly, right?
Yeah.
I can teach them how to row the boat. I can teach them how to swim when they feel like sinking. I can teach them how to climb
Yeah.
out of the hole that they're in. I can teach them how to smile when they want to cry. I can teach them to cry when they really want to pretend smile, right? So it's that. It feels really good cuz it also feels really connected. And I learned going through treatment how lonely I was,
Yeah.
and that is so sad because I was lonely in my own body with myself. And, now I'm not.
I just in fact I'm so touched by what you've just said. I'm almost getting emotional. I'm just trying to imagine what you've been through, and it's not easy, but I'm glad you were able to come through,
Thank you.
get through this phase of life. And I really applaud your strength as a woman, and the zeal to keep moving after such a horrific experience. But I would like you to just talk to the entrepreneur watching right now. We have some founders and entrepreneurs who go through these kind of situations, and it completely cuts them off. Their purpose for life just shuts down. They get so confused about life, they feel they're going to die. So talk to that entrepreneur that is in one health challenge or the other, and give them
Yeah.
that kind of encouragement that you would give someone else.
Whatever you're scared of, lean all the way into it. Whatever it is, that worst case scenario, lean into it. Go there. If you're worried about it all falling apart, let it fall apart in your mind.
Yeah.
What happens next? Right? If you're worried about living or dying, what happens when you're dying? You're dead. It doesn't matter. All the things that we are so worried about don't matter at all.
Yeah.
And what they're actually doing is robbing you from the life you have. And so when it comes to, your business, it's staying aligned, keeping connected with your why, and not in this sort of abstract thinking way, right? Where you're just filling out the mission and the values to put a poster on the wall because you checked that box and now you have a mission. It's what is your mission actually? And what are you doing and how are you spending your days? And if you own your own company or you're working as a team, how are you leveraging your unique ability to spend your days doing predominantly what you love doing? Sometimes things that we don't love to do have to get done. But when we know
Yeah.
what our unique ability is, and as we grow and expand, we can then delegate the things that don't bring us energy to people that's their superpower, right? So it's the right partnerships, it's the right employees, and it really starts with you. It starts with your alignment. What are you doing
Yeah.
to connect with your mission and your values? What are you doing to really like develop yourself as a leader? What are you doing to cultivate your message and your communication and how it is that you communicate your values and your mission to the people that need to hear it, that want to work with you or want to buy things from you? Right? And then it's in your community. Again, it goes back to the impact. It's what are you doing in your community and who are you
Yeah.
collaborating meaningful way? How can you in a more meaningful way do and follow through with those things? So when you're working in your community, that those are the people that are aligned with your mission and values because you've been aligned the whole time.
Yeah.
So it keeps you focused and it keeps you centered on what it is that you need to be doing and where it is that you need to be spending your energy.
Amazing. Amazing, Melissa.
Oh, I
You
think
are
did I lose the volume?
you are amazing. No, 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 no. You
Looks
are
like I lost my
amazing, to be
volume.
honest.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I lost
I
you.
can hear you. I can hear you.
I lost your volume for some reason.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can
Weird.
you hear me?
How about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You got to love a little.
Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
Mm, we
Can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a little break in transmission, and but the truth is, Melissa has gone through a lot, and some of her experiences are some of the experiences many of us are going through. Um, going through life's challenges, being confused about it, not knowing how that aligns with your purpose for life. But then sometimes when we go through life's challenges, it actually, realigns us back to our purpose for life. And Melissa has been giving us a bit about that all along. Melissa, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're back.
Amazing. So Melissa, honestly, it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and I've learned a lot from you personally, and I'm sure everybody watching this show right now has learned a lot, from your experiences and what you've gone through. Excuse me, what you've gone through in life, and your personal experiences and all that. So, but tell me a bit more about where you are right now with the NGO and with your career.
Thank you. So now what I'm doing is everything that I was just kind of talking about was really all about how you become aligned. So I built
Mm,
this alignment model, which is kind of what I was referencing, which is your mission, your values, your SWOT, your internal development, your external communications, your community outreach initiatives, and how they are a feedback loop into your mission and your values. And it's always great to know where you're out of alignment so that you know where you need to
yeah.
hone in, and if the people that you're collaborating with don't necessarily reflect what it is that you're trying to do, then you know that you're out of alignment there, and you know kind of where you need to target and attack. So what I do is I go into businesses, and I work directly
Okay.
one-on-one with entrepreneurs, and I help them come into alignment. So I developed a soul strategy that I helped you connect with who you are, before whatever happened
Okay.
to you. How do you access that joy, that purpose, that your mission? If you've ever felt just unfulfilled, if you've ever felt like I just want more, like nothing is ever enough, if it's that still that yearning, that longing, that grasping for something more,
Something
it's
more.
really how do you access that? So I start with that. I start with the soul strategy, which is literally everything that I did over the last few years to figure out what it is that I want. And then the alignment model. So then aligning who you are with what you do and how you're doing it and who you're doing it with, so that you are not only, going to gain so much more traction because everybody is doing
Okay.
and everybody is really clear on what it is that they're doing and why they're doing it. It's inherently more motivating, more really inspiring. This is really about inspiration, not motivation. I work with a lot of teams and leaders that it's like, it's not about motivation. Motivation always has to be one upped. If you're using, bonuses as a motivation, try to give your team a lower bonus next year than you gave them this year, right? It becomes an expectation, it becomes part of pay. But if you can inspire your team to really know
Yeah.
what impact they're making and have it be real. This isn't some like BS, you're going to go out and sponsor a kid's soccer team and say that that's your community outreach, right? This is purposeful, driven, aligned actions that lead to actual ROIs because they're real.
Wow.
It's how do you scale with integrity? How do you create an empire on impact? And truly, it's through doing these things. It's connecting with yourself and having every single leader on your team doing the same. Then they're leading their teams with that same intention, right? And it compounds and it expands. And it's just this. force. And so I show leaders and their teams how to do that. And in a really, not so painful way. I've worked with Wealth Dynamics and Working Genius. I love both of them because I think it's really important for us to isolate what it is that we do and our fastest path to wealth so that we're not exhausting ourselves doing the things that we hate and we're instead spending the
Okay.
majority of our times doing what we love. And so I show teams how to do that. Right? If you take a wealth dynamics test and your COO is a deal maker, that's the wrong seat. Maybe they're great at operations, but what's going to really inspire them is through, this sales and marketing team. So it's just learning kind of those little nuances and then working with Working Genius
Mhm.
too, so that people know how they work. You're not
Yeah.
having a vision building meeting and putting tenacity or discernment in charge, right? So all of those
Mm-hmm.
things, it's working with all these things together in addition to taking into considerations people's individual soul strategy, their individual,
Yeah.
what innately inspires them. So, and then making sure that you and your team have the right training and resources and education necessary in order to go to the next level. And it's not this one size fits all. It's not like you take this personality test once and then you're done, right? You've invested in your team.
Okay.
This is a daily, weekly, monthly, annual thing. And so I go in
Okay.
with teams, I'll work really intensely for a few months. And then I slowly kind of filter off. And then I kind of come back just for a pulse. Or I'll host retreats for the leadership teams. And then really
Okay.
curate the content based on what it is that that team is needing, based on what their goals are for the next year.
It's kind of close to what Julie Lunsford,
Yeah, Judy's
almost
amazing.
exactly what
So,
she does.
well, she's amazing. I learned Working Genius from her. And
Okay.
so taking Working Genius, Wealth Dynamics, and everything that I've learned in the world of health and wellness too. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
about to go to Cabo tomorrow with a client one on one, and we're doing a 3 day silent retreat, right? I've done several
Okay.
3 day silent retreats. I've done a Vipassana, which is a 10-day silent retreat. And so sometimes I'm working with leaders in very non-conventional ways. And all it is figuring out what it is that that particular person needs. Where are they out of
Yeah.
alignment? Where do they need more support and resources? And then doing that thing. And because I've lived sort of in the woo woo wellness space and in the super
Mm-hmm.
corporate, high achievement space, I know what both of these worlds look like. And truly the magic is in the middle. It's in the integration of both so that you're not sacrificing yourself for what you do. And you're also not sacrificing what you do in your livelihood to fulfill who you are.
Yeah. And I also believe some leaders don't even know they need alignment. I
Yeah,
believe
I
so.
mean,
A lot.
totally,
They don't know.
totally. Well, and that's why I say it's all in the cues. If you just feel like you always want more, if you are busy, 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 and you're constantly filling your schedule and you hate being alone, if
Mm,
these are your own individual red flags. If you are
yeah.
bad at meditating because you can't shut off your brain, meditation's not about shutting off your brain. Meditation is about hearing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about just figuring out what you need and then helping you get it so that you can evolve. So if you don't want to evolve and you like to be right where you're at, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just not my client.
Melissa, it's been amazing having you on the show. To be honest, we've overshot our time, but I really had a very exciting time with you, and I'm very sure everybody watching on the show had a very wonderful time.
Thank
And we've
you.
learned a lot from you and from your experiences, and even though there were some sad experiences, by the way, but you've grown past all of that. You've become a better person. You've used some of your experiences. You've built NGO, and then you've also evolved your offer and learned a lot along the way. And I'm really, really excited about hearing some of these. I've known you for a while. I didn't even know all this about you, to be honest.
Well, I love it.
I didn't
I
know all
love
this
it.
about you.
I
So
love it.
I'm really, really excited about, especially stuff about working genius. I've taken the working genius. Julie helped me take that, and I learned a thing or two about myself. And it really makes people understand who they are and how they can contribute to the working environment. A lot of people don't know what they can offer. They don't know who they are, and it causes a lot of misalignment even in the workplace, which is something I know you solve. So I really want to appreciate you for coming on the show today. And I know we're going to have this opportunity again because I really have a lot of questions to still ask you, but I'm running out of time right now. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Melissa June on the podcast today, and Melissa has been amazing, simply amazing. And to be honest, I feel like not ending right now, but I just have to. So Melissa, thank you so much. Where can we find you? Can you tell us where we can find you?
Yes, I am on all socials at meljune.com. You can go to my website at meetmeljune.com. And my email, if you want to reach out direct, is contact@meljune.com.
Wow. Everybody, contact at meljune.com. Hit her up if you feel that there's something you need, you're not getting. Maybe you feel you're misaligned, you're not getting things, you have expectations that are not being met, you feel that you're not there right now, and you need to talk to someone. Hit up Melissa, and Melissa is going to help you. Definitely, she's been an amazing friend. Met her at the mastermind through Amando, and I just love her ideas. I just love how she breaks down the ideas and makes it so easy to understand that even a little child can understand her. And I really want to appreciate you for being on the show today. Thank you so much for being on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, guys, watch our next episode because it promises to be exciting. So have a
Yes.
great day, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.